The problem of evil. Yes, I'm talking about it once again. But don't worry, this could very well be the finale, the one to end it for all of eternity. You see, the problem of evil, which if you don't know, is a philosophical problem in which it states that, well, if an omnipotent, all-loving, all-powerful, and so on, all-knowing even, God exists, then surely that God would know of evil, have the power to prevent it, and be all-loving and want to prevent it. So why does evil exist? It would seem that this omnipotent, all-knowing, all-loving God should not exist, or at least it's very improbable. So how can a Christian respond? How can a Christian respond to this criticism of an omnipotent deity? And well, it starts with being legally blind to evil. I cannot see no evil. Yes. How about you prove this objective evil which you're talking about? Now, that is a very good question to ask, because most of the time it forces and makes the atheist admit that there is no objective evil without a God. Of course, you still have to explain the evil within the Christian worldview, but as long as they're not able to give you any objective evil without a God, it gives you a very good standing against this argument. And the reason is very simple. The atheist cannot say that apples are evil and that apples disprove God, because apples are not evil in Christianity. And the same way, they cannot just make up things that are evil and then say that they disprove God. The only evil that you have to explain as a Christian is the evil that is in a Christian worldview. And so every time that an atheist brings up any sort of evil that they claim disproves God, you have to ask them, why is that evil? Give me the evidence that that is evil. And well, of course, if their answer, which a lot of the times is something like, well, it's obvious, it's ridiculous to claim that X is not evil, well, you can always just respond with, well, if it's so obvious, then certainly it would be easy for you to prove it, right? And so, every time that a thing is claimed to be evil and that disproves God, ask, why is it evil? Now that we've gotten that out of the way, it's quite easy to defend against the problem of evil, because we only have to explain the evil that is, well, evil in a Christian worldview. So a lot of the times atheists will invent stuff like suffering is evil, and so there is suffering, therefore there is no God. But suffering is not evil in a Christian worldview. That is wrong. Jesus suffered on the cross. That was not evil. That was quite the opposite. It was probably the greatest event in the history of humanity. And so suffering alone is not evil in a Christian worldview. And once again, a Christian has to only explain the things that are evil in a Christian worldview. Now, if you think there is some objective moral standard that says that suffering is always evil, then go ahead and prove it. If you cannot, then I do not have to explain why suffering exists in the world, because it is not objectively evil in a Christian worldview. The things that a Christian has to explain are the things that are evil in a Christian worldview. And what are those things? What are the things that Christians do have to explain? Because those do exist. And well, a good example is sins. When people commit sins, that is evil. That is evil in a Christian worldview. And those are the things that we have to explain as a Christian. And so, it's quite simple. I mean, sinning is going against the commandments of God. And so, if you break a commandment of God, that is evil. Now, why would such evil exist? Well, quite easily can be explained through the free will theodicy. We have a free will, so we can choose to go against the commandments of God. Quite simple. Now, once again, the atheist cannot say that, well, free will doesn't explain why some animal 1,000 years ago went extinct in the savannah or something. Well, that's not evil in a Christian worldview. Please give me the Bible verse or the ecumenical council or the church teaching which teaches that that animal going extinct 1,000 years ago was evil. If you cannot provide it, I do not have to explain why that evil would exist, because it is not evil in Christianity. And once again, atheists don't seem to be able to provide an objective standard for morality, which they could say that, well, it's objectively evil always, no matter your worldview. And so therefore you have to explain it. And this is the reason why the problem of evil falls apart. The whole reason the problem of evil is even being a debated argument is because atheists just bring up random things as evil that are not actually evil in any way, and just say, look, boom, animal suffering is evil, therefore no God. But animal suffering is not evil. Once again, if there is an objective moral standard which states that animal suffering is evil, prove it. It's on you to prove it, not on me to disprove it. Now, if you cannot prove it, then surely I have to only explain the things that are evil in a Christian worldview. And once again, there doesn't seem to be a Bible verse or ecumenical council or anything talking about how we ought to prevent animal suffering because animal suffering is evil. That doesn't exist. And so animal suffering is not evil, and it doesn't disprove God in any way. And this is truly the biggest problem with the problem of evil. It has a fundamental flaw. The fundamental flaw is that atheists assume that Christians and, well, even other religious people have to explain all things that these atheists consider evil in their subjective worldview, which we don't. We don't have to explain why you consider something like animal suffering evil or oranges and other fruit as evil. Yes, oranges are evil. Like, no, in my Christian worldview they're not evil. So I do not have to provide you with evidence on why God created oranges. And so the problem of evil is not really a problem at all. Because all evil that exists in a Christian worldview, for example sins, can very easily be explained by many things like the free will theodicy. And well, that's probably the only true evil in Christianity, committing sin. Other things are not, in a sense, evil. It is not. And well, sins can be very easily explained by the free will theodicy. So the next time an atheist comes to you and asks to explain the problem of evil and how can you respond to it, first of all, ask them, what is this evil that you're supposed to explain? And if they give you anything that is not evil in a Christian worldview, then you don't have to explain it. Now, if they give you some example of something that is evil in a Christian worldview, like sinning and committing sin, then surely you need to explain that. But those are quite easy to explain with, for example, free will. And so we have completely obliterated the problem of evil. But anyway, thanks for watching and have a great day.